I've been able to learn by seeing how other people have made mistakes, right? So I've learned what not to do and what to do based on what other people did or didn't do and how it affected them in their life, right? And so I've always been able to learn that way. So when God showed me the Bible and he said, he had me to read it, and it was, to me, it was helping me to understand, listen to everything he says, do everything he says. And when I say that purpose requires something different from you, you'll begin to understand who God is. You'll begin to understand who you are. You'll begin to understand your purpose. You'll begin to understand what you're called to do. You'll begin to understand all these things by doing one thing. If you listen carefully to the voice of the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. I'm not saying the Lord's going to bring diseases on you. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the main thing that you need to do, if you are trying to get to purpose, if you're trying to stop wandering in the wilderness, if you're in this place in your life where you're like, man, I keep going around in circles, I keep dealing with the same thing, I keep going through the same issues, I keep going through the same circumstances, I keep dealing with the same stuff, and why is this happening again? Why am I dealing with this again? It's because you keep failing the test. You keep failing it. So the last time that you did it, you learned a big lesson. You learned a really big lesson. The problem is that now the test has come up again. And instead of you taking heed to the lesson that you learned previously, naively or rebelliously, I don't know if that's a word, but you do the same thing over again. So if I've learned that, okay, the last time I dated someone, and it was out of the will of the Father, and I sinned, and I had, sex, and I did these things, right? All these things happened. I ended up, all the wrong things happened. My heart ended up getting broken. Everything was detrimental. Everything was wrong. I was betrayed. All these things happened. I got diseased, or I contracted something, or I got pregnant, I got trapped, or I got someone pregnant, right? And that didn't work out, and so now I'm in this horrible relationship or this horrible circumstance where now me and this person are at odds, but we have this child, and now my life is full of strife, right? Strife and contention and all these things. And so you learn from it. You need to learn from that. And so then, you go through with this situation, and then you come up again, and someone else comes along, and they are absolutely just beautiful in your eyes. And next thing you know, all these fireworks are going on inside, and lust has come over you, and all of a sudden you forget about the lesson that you learned previously. And so you find yourself in the same situation, and then oops, next thing you know, another baby. Right? So now you are literally in a vicious cycle. Well, the vicious cycle will continue until you realize, wait a minute, I need to do something different this time. I need to stop this. I can't do this anymore. I need to repent. I need to change from my ways. I need to go about this a different way. This isn't it. And so then you have people who, and this is no condemnation to anyone who's listening to this, but then you have people who have multiple children by multiple people, or even if it's the same person, but they keep making the same mistake and the same mistake and the same mistake. Or you have someone who keeps getting married and divorced and married and divorced and married and divorced. And these are the best examples that I can come up with right now, but I mean, there are plenty. There are plenty. This is where you have to say, you know what, I'm not learning it. If anything, I'm just digging a hole deeper for myself. And I can tell you right now, you're not going to get into purpose that way, right? So the question is what do I have to do to change the course of my life, to get into a place where I'm hearing from God, I'm listening to God, I'm obeying? The thing that you have to do, first and foremost, is listen and obey the commands of God. That you do that, it lines up everything else in your life. You do that. You listen to the Lord your God. You trust him. You love him with all your heart. You listen to his commands. You follow him in everything that he does. And I promise you, everything else will line up. He'll start to teach you who you are, who he is, how loving he is, how caring he is, how faithful he is, how kind he is. He'll begin to purge things from you that won't benefit you in the promised land. It takes time, it takes patience. This is not something that you can rush, but it does take trust. It does take you have to be deliberate about it. You have to be very intentional about it, and it's a risk every single day. It's a risk every single day, but that is what you have to do. So when I say that at the end of the day something has got to change, that you cannot walk into purpose with the same things that you were dealing with in Egypt, you can't. Because by the time when you get to the promised land, the things of Egypt need to be so far behind you. I can't be in the promised land still dealing with some of the same sins that I was dealing with in Egypt. I can't. Because I can't afford for my purpose to go downhill. I can't afford for this work to not be done. I'm going to pay for that at the end. I'm going to have to deal with that at the end. So I can't afford it. Do you understand what I mean? So you can't afford that. So you need it to come out of you before you can even get to the promised land. And sometimes people, they'll look at you and they'll say, oh, well, that person thinks that they're perfect. That person thinks that, I know that they're dealing with sometimes people will look to find sin in you. They'll look to find issues in you and in your life when you're following God. That's cool. I mean, that's fine, whatever. I'm not coming to you as if I'm perfect, because I'm not. But I'm not dealing with the same stuff that I dealt with when I was in Egypt. I'm not dealing with alcoholism. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that. I'm past that. The things that I deal with now are different. This is a different time. I'm in a different place. I'm walking in my purpose, the calling on my life. And I'm not dealing with the same issue. So can I meet you where you are in terms of dealing with sin and shame and lust and things like that? I can meet you where you are, but not from a perspective of I'm right there with you. It's from a perspective of I know what you're dealing with. I've been there. It's from a perspective of I've been there, but let me tell you how to get out of it. It's not from a perspective of I can relate to you and thus enable you, right? The one thing I couldn't do is relate to you in a way where now we're on the same page, and now you can talk to me about these things from a perspective of she's going through it too. I can't help you that way. We couldn't help each other that way. So I can help you. I can come to you from an understanding of I've been there. But the question would be, do you want to talk to someone or listen to someone who is going through it too? Or do you want to know how to get out of it? And I don't even know why I went down this road. Sometimes God just pulls you on down into a whole nother pathway, a whole nother road. But saying that to say, I'm not dealing with the same things anymore. I refuse to. I don't want to. I genuinely don't want to. Right now, I'm dealing with some new things that come with purpose. And my biggest thing is being obedient to my Father. I need to be obedient to him. And how can I make sure that I'm doing that, right? So, I know I went around about. I said a lot of stuff. I talked about a lot of things. At the end of the day, the point of the matter is if you are not in a place where you are ready to listen to God, obey God, listen to his commands and follow him and let him lead and guide you, if you're not there, you're not ready for purpose. You're not ready for it. And if you are ready for it, if you believe that you're ready for it and that you want to go down that road and that you really want to find out what you're supposed to be doing and you want to operate in that place, Listen to the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Love him with all your heart, soul, and mind, and follow him no matter what he says. No matter what he says, do. And trust him. He will not hurt you. He will not abandon you. He will not lead you into a place where you can't see and leave you there. He's faithful. He's true. He's just. He will support you. He will be there by your side. He will protect you. He will guide you. He will develop you. He will prune you. He will grow you up. He will love you, and he'll teach you. I mean, man, when I tell you he's good like that. Okay? So I pray that this helps. I love you dearly. I pray that you enjoy your day. And it's Monday. If you are looking for, how to get closer to God and hear his voice and stuff like that, I posted a devotion on my Facebook page. I may do that once a week. I don't know. I'm just kind of following the leading of the Lord right now. And so he didn't say that I had to do it every week necessarily, but he did say to do it today. So there is a devotional on there, and it helps you to just be a little bit more, just to reflect a little bit, just to understand, the connection that we have with God, and, just reflecting on who he is and how he is and things like that. So that devotion is on my Facebook page. You can go check it out and answer some of the questions and really reflect on that devotion all day, all week, all week. Just take out, 30 minutes or so. And I don't want to say 5 or 10 minutes. I think that's silly. My perspective, whatever. I just don't think it's enough time. At least give yourself 30 minutes. 30 minutes every day to reflect on those things, to read those scriptures, to meditate them over and over, to kind of go through them and really get an understanding of that connection that you have with Christ. And and if you have questions or anything like that, you can email me. You can send me a Facebook message. If you have my number, you can call me. Other than that, have a wonderful, 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 wonderful week, a wonderful, wonderful day. And I just pray that you begin to get connected to the Lord, our God, our Father, and that you get the guidance that you need, and that you get the wisdom that you need. And I just pray that he begins to just show you just how faithful and true that he is. And I pray that you allow him to do that. So anyways, I love you dearly. Enjoy your day and your week.